Davenport peeps, an entomologist. It is Jane, and I just saw a jabiru, which is a type of bird from the Northern Territory. It was just out the back here at JDHQ. I'm at JDHQ. Got like a blue, sparkly blue head and white body and red legs. A little bit flamboyant. We like a flamboyant bird. Well, I think it's time to do some watercolour now. I'm going to spin you around. And it's been a good long while since I've uploaded a video to YouTube. Sorry for that. I've just been taking a little bit of a social media break, but I'm always doing live videos in my Facebook group. Sometimes I live stream to my Facebook page. Sometimes I live stream to Instagram. I prefer Facebook because I can chat back and forth, and it's really like a live audience, and that's how I get to know all of my fellow artists. And if you wanted to join in those live streams, you can look in the description box below and just check out the Jane Davenport Mixed Media Facebook group. And I thought this might be an interesting one to share with you as I start a new art journal. It's just so much fun starting in a blank journal. So this is one of my new drawing room journals, and it's called Back to the Fuschia because, hello, the colour. But it's got watercolour paper inside. It's in a new, smaller format, which is love. And I've just got one of my washi tapes on it, just one of the sets has got eyes on it. I've got lots and lots of different sets with eyes, just to kickstart that creativity. At some point, I had stuck that bit of washi tape on there. It probably was a bit loose, left over from something. And I've had this journal ready to start with. And I'm just going to decorate it with paint pens. And a paint pen is just acrylic paint. In a pen, just a really fluid acrylic paint, and I'm using my StoryTime and Pinpoint Paint pens. They both have the same beautiful StoryTime ink in them, and you can see how beautiful and opaque this is. I use the canvas to wrap all of my journals that I design so that you can decorate them, so you can do exactly what we're doing. I do have one that has got a printed, two that I have had printed covers, and I think that's terrific. But I think if it's plain and you've got lots and lots of journals, if you're anything like me anyway, it's just nice to put your own stamp on things, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. And I'm just leaving this washi tape. I'm going to draw a face starting with the eyes that are on here. Because this is canvas, you could put gesso on this and just treat it like canvas, a wooded canvas that you would paint on. Put gesso on it and then add your acrylics and so forth. Or you could collage it, or, with matte medium or whatever you would like to use. Or you can just draw directly straight onto the fabric like I am. So I'm using the Evil Queen Pinpoint Paint pen and the Snow White StoryTime paint pen, which has a much thicker nib for the white. But hello, I love my paint pens because look how opaque that white is. And just fleshing out a little face using that initial little eyes as a starting point. And if you want to incorporate a little piece of collage, which is what this washi tape effectively is, I find a great way to do that is by just drawing and combining just straight through and over it. So I'm adding more white paint pen to the washi tape. I'm pulling that highlight up the nose and across the bridge of the nose, love holding my pen by the tail and dragging it to get the undulating hairlines and dragging the pens across. Now, because this is actually fabric, it looks kind of smooth on screen, but it's canvas, it does have texture, which can make a pen spit. I've got to say, I love it when a pen does that. It's just like a random act of nature, and it's hard to make it do it on purpose. So it's just a nice little thing. I don't think it happened in this instant, maybe it did, but anyway, just something to watch out for. If you go fast, you're far more likely to get the pen to spit. If you draw more slowly and mindfully, everything should go fairly smoothly. And then that's all I really need to do. The end papers for the drawing room art journals have got this art. Now you can paint over that. I won't be offended. But what's very important is, please remember, well, you don't have to, of course, but dating your journals. Oh, I'm so a little bit kicking myself if I've got a journal that I forget to put the starting date. It's also interesting to have the finishing date. And then once I've finished the journal, I usually write the main theme of it or the year on the spine, so that if I want to go back and find something, which I do need to do for my work, I've got a hope of finding it. It's also really important for you to put some form of identifier. An email address is a good one. If you wanted to, you could put your phone number on the inside. This journal belongs to, so that if by chance your bag went missing, got stolen, you left your journal, I've heard all sorts of stories, you might have a chance of getting it back if someone can find you. While I've been blabbing on the screen, I've started to get out some art supplies, and I think I'm talking here about the ArtTime watercolors. Now, just FYI, I used to always record in my art studio at home, but the Wi-Fi here with the panny, I'm sharing a lot more internet because people are at home more, and I just don't have the internet speed to do a live stream from my art studio anymore. So I go into JDHQ, which is where the store is and where we send everything out to happy artists all around the world. And the internet speed in there is blisteringly fast. So I've been setting up another whole art space. So every so often, like with my ArtTime watercolors, I'm not just using things I've already got all set up, sort of setting up a little satellite art room and really enjoying broadcasting from there and creating my live videos there. I've got natural light, so I can't record here at any time, which I can in my home studio. I've got really great lighting so that if I feel like recording later into the night, or if it's a dark day or for whatever reason, I can do that, and the lighting doesn't really change. So I'm setting up all of my art space, and it's great because everything looks brand new and beautiful and pristine. So this is the ArtTime watercolors. It's a little set that's so tiny you can actually wear it on your wrist. Comes with a little removable wrist strap, which yes is a novelty you would think, but highly useful if you're traveling. All of the little, like the other half pan sets, they can all come out, the little tiny flat pans, and you can move them all around, customize the set however you like. And I've also got my fairy dust watercolors that I made myself off on the side there, and which have mica and shimmer in them, gorgeous. And my original Petite Palette watercolors. This is the bright set. You can see it's already becoming very well loved. All of these watercolors mix with each other. You don't have to worry about things sticking to their lane. This is the art history set, and it's part of the ArtTime watercolors. I'm just mixing up a little bit of a neutral skin tone there. And this whole video, usually when I sit down to do a live stream, I honestly have no idea what it is that I'm going to be creating or what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going with the flow, which is how I usually create my art. It's very authentic and truthful. But someone did ask a question in one of my groups saying, what is the difference between all of Jane's different watercolor palettes? Because I have quite a few now. And that's where I thought, oh, I can show this in one of the live streams and, you know, show them in action and show what the difference is. Long story short, the only real difference is the colors. As a designer, when I'm working on colors, in every set that I do, I am really trying to get different colors. Another way of designing is to make everything matchy-poo and match it all throughout. That's wonderful. I don't need to have matching colours from one thing to the next, just in the way that I personally work. I want as many different colours as I can fit around me. And it's just the way that I design. And of course, there is the argument that you just need a primary set. I would say you need a cool primaries, a warm primaries, and maybe a couple of neutrals, a black maybe and a white to make shades and tints. But you can mix any colour of the rainbow with your basics. The only trouble, and that's fantastic. Some people, that is how they create, that's how their brain works. Fabulous. When I'm creating, I so often am in creative mode and I think, oh, lilac would be nice. And I scan my art supplies and I'm looking for the right colour. And the way that I design, I only use my own stuff. I see the lilac that I want to use. Yes, you. And I know that whatever I'm using is going to go with everything else. So that is why I want that broader spectrum of colours. And then, of course, I can always mix colours as well. But sometimes with an idea, they're so fleeting, I really want to get that right colour down on my page rather than fluff around mixing something up. I need more time for that, and very often I'm in creative, I don't know, it's hard for everyone creates differently, so I'm only speaking about my creative experience, but I want to get down to what I want to do straight away. So yes, of course, I love it when the colours mix themselves, I've got to say. It's just the way I like to work. Now, on the page, who knows what's happening here? At the moment, it started off as a blob of colour. Now it's turned into a sort of sun peeping out from behind a rain cloud with legs. And that gold, that yellow in the corner is from I think I mentioned this, the fairy dust pigments that I've got a whole collection so you can make your own watercolour. It's really easy. You learn so much about colour as you're making them, and it's just using something you've made yourself. It's a little bit special. So I've just added that gold on there, and I've got two mini, they're the bigger ArtTime palettes. I've got two of them. One is warm colours, one is the cool colours. So I think this is a little fashion model. Fashion. And we're going to just add a little head up here, a little bit of skin tone that matches those little legs underneath the pouffant, the exuberance. Maybe she's a Jabiru. Maybe that was my inspiration. The Jabiru was quite sleek though, very, very tall. It's the only Australian stork I just read actually. And now I'm thinking, right, I know who this is. It reminds me a little bit of the 60s, that sort of mod movement, a little bit of Pierre Cardin, but also I had just watched To Steal a Million with, I think I got the name of the movie right, with Audrey Hepburn. I've got the actress right. And I've got a real thing about, with my fashion background, about Hubert Givenchy and Audrey Hepburn's collaboration really over the years. And I just, what's not to love about that woman? But the fashion in some of the movies, it's like I'm not going to say it's like another character, because that would infer that it's as big as a main character, and it's not. It just perfectly, succinctly supports what Audrey's portraying. And there's one scene in there, she's in a little zippy sports car convertible, and she's got this cool glasses on and this sort of like mod sort of hood thing, and it's ridiculous really, but she looks so cool. So I think that is what I started to see in my head. It's always so fascinating where ideas come from. But I was just mixing a dark colour rather than just go in for black or just straight ink. I do have a lovely dark blue in there. I have a black in one of my other sets that I could use. But sometimes I have a colour in my mind's eye that I might want to use, and that's when I'll take the time to mix it. Or, as I may have been doing here, I can't remember now, sometimes It's a stalling technique. As my mind, my brain is putting together its ideas, and I don't draw this type of creation that I'm about to attempt every day. So my brain needs a little bit of a moment to work out what it's doing. So it says to the hands, hey, let's just mix up a colour. So that's what I think that's what I did. I think that's why I mixed the colour. So rather than just using the ink, which is kind of where I ended back up at. I should have just used the ink, I guess. But my other stalling techniques that I use are if I'm working on something, I can't quite work it out, or something looks a bit wonky, I just move to a different part of my art, or I turn the page and start working on something else. Those types of activity just give my brain a break from whatever it was that may, rather bothering me, maybe something, or worrying me, or thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I get out of that rut, or don't let it start to happen. Start doing something else that brings me joy, and then eventually the solution bobs up, or you just build your confidence back up and think, you know what, I'm just going to try it anyway. I'm just going to try, and in my mind's eye, without looking any of reference pictures up, which, during a live broadcast, sometimes I do, but don't usually have time. I just wing things. And I feel really lucky and privileged that my audience in the Facebook group, they don't seem to mind while I work things out. We get there in the end. That's the important part. And seeing an artist work stuff out, I think, is helpful because, well, we're all artists, and sometimes these things just don't flow from beginning to end. We need little times to look at our work and think about it as we go along. So thank you for joining me in this little start to a whole new journal. It's always an exciting moment, christening a new art journal for me. I just absolutely love it. And to do that with watercolour and in a live stream with my Davenport peeps, even extra joyful. And for Audrey Hepburn, in some small way, to make a little appearance, even better. Bye, my friends.